Today in the house, we got, a local standout in Utah that is now playing at the University of Oregon as a tight end. And I mean, some really cool stuff that we're going to talk about today. We got Roger Saleapaga with us here on the show. Roger, welcome to the show, bro.
Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I mean, so a little background story about Roger. I'm just gonna dive into it. I'm gonna out myself within the first 5 minutes of this show. So I've followed Roger on social media, saw kind of who you were and
Yeah.
what you've been doing,
Uh-huh.
and I was flying to Irvine, and I see this dude, and I was like, "Yo, that looks like Roger, who I follow on Instagram." And then, I don't think anything of it. I was like, "Nah, it's probably not him." Like, whatever. I don't know why
Yeah.
he'd be going to California at the same time as
Uh-huh.
I am. Hop on the plane. He sits right next to me, right behind me. He gets off the plane, and I see his organ bag, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, bro, this is the same dude that." So he probably thinks that I'm stalking him, trying
No,
to get him
yeah.
on the show, but that's not the case. But as I've said, like, big fan of kind of what you do and how you operate,
Sure.
and so let's hear a little bit about you. Let's
Yeah.
tell us a little about you.
Yeah. So first, I'm gonna start off the reason why I was in California. I'm originally from Long Beach, California.
Okay.
But that week I was actually on spring break. So me and some of the buddies went down to Newport. To
Okay.
chill out. But yeah, before I'm originally from Long Beach, California. Born and raised. Moved out here. I want to say 2018.
Okay.
My brother committed to BYU.
Nice.
My dad was like, let's just move. Plus, it was, California. It was
Yeah.
really expensive for my parents.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, me and my whole family picked up and moved here.
Yeah, man. And so that's at 2018. So what year was that? Junior year, sophomore year?
No, 2018 was my, I want to say 7th grade year.
Oh wow,
No,
I'm
yeah,
way
no,
off.
yeah.
I'm way off. So you moved here in 7th grade.
No,
Okay.
yeah, 7th grade.
Okay,
6th
so
grade,
you
yeah.
kind of grew up going to, and then you ended up at Orem. Were you at Orem the whole time, or?
Yeah. So actually, we were looking for houses, and we were right next to there was 2 houses. It was one next to 10th View,
Okay.
and one next to Orem. But my dad and mom just decided to go with the one in Orem.
Nice.
No, yeah. So.
And I mean, Orem's obviously had a rich history of
Yeah.
football and
Uh-huh.
basketball at this point
No,
too.
yeah, uh-huh.
Sports in general. I
Yeah.
mean, what was that like playing at Orem and going through that side of things?
It was cool. I think just to know that there was people before me.
Yeah.
Who were obviously big recruits with Puka, Noah Sewell, then the year before me, Vice.
Yeah,
Sort of cool.
some dudes.
No, some dudes. So
Dudes came from
no,
Orem.
yeah, So I was just happy to continue the legacy. But I remember my brother played with Noah a
Okay.
lot, and Puka.
Yeah.
I think Puka's senior year was my brother's freshman year. But
Okay.
going to the games, I mean, it was just cool to watch. Just Noah, Puka, and obviously like Kingsley,
Yeah.
who got drafted 2nd round. So we have some dudes to
Yeah.
come out, but. I was just blessed to continue the legacy, of what they started.
No, absolutely. And I mean, so what was that kind of? Obviously, you're playing at Orem,
Yeah.
top level guy.
Mhm.
What was that recruiting process like, bro? I mean, it was probably wild.
No, it was. See, a lot of people think I had. I want to say 25 plus offers out of
Wow.
high school,
Big time.
but most of it came my junior year.
Really?
Crazy story. So I got my very first one to BYU as a D lineman. For some reason, they just offered me for D lineman, but I got that. I want to say the summer going into my sophomore year or freshman year, one of those. But
Yeah.
then my sophomore year after that season, I got Hawaii and SUU. Only
Okay.
my only 3 offers.
Yeah.
So going into my junior year, I knew it was a big year. Me and my dad was talking about it the whole summer, leading into it off season.
Yeah. Junior year's big year.
No, junior was a real big year to my dad. So since like the whole off season, I was working out extra, like doing everything I could.
Yeah.
Come first game, terrible game. Like it was a terrible game. I had like 37 receiving yards,
Yeah.
2 catches. But I remember going home after, and I was telling my parents, like, kind of broke down in the rooms. Like, I did everything extra and just not seeing any results.
Yeah.
But obviously growing up in a like big religious household, my mom just told me before you lay your head on your pillow at night to just pray on it. So that night, I prayed on it. It was Friday night. Going into the next week, I mean, I felt good the whole practice. Like every practice. My second game of the season, I had 200 receiving yards, 12 catches.
Big difference.
Big difference. But from then, everybody called. A big shout out to my uncle Gabriel, so Noah's dad. He kind of helped me a lot in my recruiting.
Absolutely.
But for my junior year, I mean, that's where I took off after my second game.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, you go right. You're in the off season.
Yeah.
You're putting the extra work in, and then you're like, "Yo, I just had the worst game
No, yeah,
possible."
it was-
And then, shout out your moms though, like
yeah.
for saying like, "Hey, like it's okay. Trust
yeah.
the process. Like
No,
trust
for
God."
sure.
And then, boom, now you blow up. And I mean, you're getting recruited. Obviously, you're at Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Oregon's not just anybody. So
Yeah.
it's like, what was that like getting those schools coming in to recruit you? And, were you kind of like, what was that like,
It was crazy. I mean, it was surreal. So my brother, he was actually a big recruit in California. He was ranked, I want to say, top 9 edges in the whole state of California. But seeing him go through it all, I mean, I looked up to him
Right.
in football, like every aspect. But I mean, for me, it was kind of crazy because I felt like I was always counted out.
Yeah.
My junior year, I was 195 tight end. Like,
Yeah.
no one thought I would be able to pick up, like, SEC or all those offers. But for me, it was just crazy just to see, like, all that work pay off.
Absolutely.
But also just the experience with my family. I think I had, like, 14 offers after my second game. So
crazy.
So everything started coming, but
Yeah.
it was just a crazy experience.
How did you balance that, bro? Cause I mean, obviously you're still trying to go through high school. You're
Yeah.
still trying to be hanging out with the boys, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
also like, hey, my vision is here, but I still got to have fun and
Yeah.
enjoy the process. But how did you take time to enjoy the process?
I'm not gonna lie, my high school life was not fun at all. My
Really?
parents kind of just told me if you really want this, you have to put all your marbles in it. So I kind of I'm not gonna say it was all serious, but I was just
you treated it different.
I treated it different for sure. Also, I just kept the same energy. The person that gave me everything, God, and I thanked him, and but yeah, for the most part, it was just I stayed serious.
Yeah.
My parents were really strict with me. So
Yeah. Shout out parents though, man.
shout out moms and pops.
I mean, I think too, I think sometimes in high school you kind of have this everyone has this vision of what high school should look like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You should go to all the dances, you should
Yeah.
do this, and and those are fun. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
yeah,
But dude, I didn't even because I was hooping, so I hooped in high school, and so.
Yeah.
Man, I missed so many dances because we had AAU tournaments or basketball camps, and I was like, sorry, can't take you.
No,
I'm hooping. Sorry, my goal is to hoop. And so,
Yeah.
and I think people kind of have that, you kind of have to have that reality, especially in the realm of nowadays, man, you got 7-on-7, you got camps every weekend, you got trainings, and then it's a full-time job, even at the high school level.
My summers weren't summers.
No.
Going from my sophomore to senior, my summers were not summers.
Yeah. If anything, it got busier.
No, it got way busier. Didn't really see my friends that much, but
Did you play sevens at all?
yeah, I played with Pink Outlaws. So
Okay.
I was on the team with Isaac Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was me, Isaac Wilson, Jerome Miles, another big recruit. So,
Yeah, big time.
No,
big time
So
team.
it was a big time team.
How was that, bro? Playing at the talent of that, right?
Yeah, I think it was humbling for me. I'm not saying Utah is easy, but going out of state and competing, but also with guys around the state.
Yeah.
I think it was very humbling for all of us, but it was fun. I mean, to play with guys like Isaac Wilson.
Yeah.
Then we there's talks that come up what if we join.
Yeah.
teams
What if
and
we
stuff.
team up?
Yeah. So it was really cool. I mean, we had that team. I want to say we had over 100+ offers just on it.
Combined.
No, combined. It was all Utah kids.
Which is crazy.
No, yeah.
And because in AAU, right, you have Utah prospects, but
Yeah.
dudes that aren't from Utah playing on it and stuff. So it's cool that obviously there's some interchange with sevens and stuff, but that's cool that that was a Utah team
Oh, yeah. Utah-based team.
doing some
Yeah.
cool stuff, So I mean, when those conversations happen, when you're in that realm of being recruited at that level, was it kind of, hey bro, yeah, we should team up, or was it kind of hey, I'm doing my path? Obviously your brother was committed to BYU. Did BYU was your first offer?
Yeah, BYU was my very.
So were you kind of maybe I might go to BYU, or were you kind of I need to go out of state, I need to do my own thing?
So craziest story is once I got offered to BYU, I went home, surprised my parents, but I told them Mom, Dad, I'm gonna commit today. But I was yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You're capable of getting more. But BYU was my first offer, but I think from my freshman to junior year, I wanted to commit bad.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think I was going to get 25+ offers.
Right.
But once I got all the other ones, open my options.
In the meantime, we just want to thank our partners and sponsors. Dunked Cookies out in Saratoga Springs, phenomenal cookie shop, literally the best people ever. Go tap in, go support a local company, awesome people. Mosquito Meat Market in Provo and Lehigh. They have butcher shops and they also have the restaurant in Provo. Super great food, super good vibe, super easy to get in and get out. Shout out JC&F Co. Appreciate my boy Jared hooking me up with the chains, getting me right, making sure I'm looking solid. If anyone needs jewelry pieces, he can customize anything. He's super good, easy to work with. Tap in there. Shout out my guys over at Lodge 33. Literally the most comfortable hat I've ever worn, and that's all I wear. Whether I'm on the podcast, whether I'm doing anything, you're going to always see me in a Lodge 33 hat. So make sure you're tapped in there. Lone Wolf Prince, shout out my guy Spence. He runs that. Also, if you need to look good on Sundays or you're going to meetings, whatever you need, and you need a suit or nice slacks, nice blazer, whatever you need, Odeon down in Orem, Draper, Riverton, you will not miss, I promise. They got it all taken care of. My guy Taylor and Wyatt and the boys down there will take care of you. So make sure you're tapped in with them. Rock and Crust Pizza, shout out my guy over there. Super good pizza. They got gluten-free options. They got all different flavors, so anyone and everybody can eat there. So shout out them. Make sure you go use, Benconnected. Let them know that I sent you, and they'll take care of you.
And I'm sure, like, for you were probably like, yeah, like, wow, like, not that, BYU's a bad offer or anything like that. It's just more of like, wow, like, hey, like, what if I go to Bama? What if I go to Oregon? Like, what kind of opportunities could that lead me, right? Whether even not even playing, but like, dude, you could go there and, man, what kind of networking could you create, right? And so it's kind of like, I think, like, it's easy, like, even like growing up, right, in the church, it's sometimes like, oh yeah, everyone talks like, oh yeah, you're going on a mission. Like, dude, when I was 5 singing the song, I knew I was going on a mission. When I'm 18 and I have to make decisions, I'm like, yeah, bro, hooping, I might go hoop, I might do this, I might do that. And so I think, like, when you kind of have that first offer and you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I feel like I need to commit. Yeah. Because it's like you don't know. And then now you kind of have all these other opportunities, and it's like, not that any is bad or less than or anything. It's just when you have more opportunities, it's more decisions. No, yeah, and so, for sure. With your brother, like, being committed to BYU, was it hard to, like, maybe not go to BYU, or is it always kind of like, hey, that's your path, I'm gonna do it, and that's a different path?
I think it was easier because my brother wanted me to go somewhere else.
Really?
Yeah, my brother wanted me to explore all my options, but I think after my junior year, I had my mindset that I was leaving the state. But I did it. I mean, not to cheat on the topic, but I wanted to go to Oregon, for reasons of leaving the state and growing up by myself, Yeah. But my brother wanted me to leave the state. But it was hard to tell BYU, like,
right.
No, I'm not going to BYU.
Hey, I'm not going here.
No, yeah, especially like knowing all the coaches because my brother. But
yeah. And when you decided to go to Oregon, like, I mean, obviously there's a lot of other schools, a lot of other opportunities. Yeah. What was the difference with Oregon? Like, obviously, growing up, bro, any kid is like Oregon's like the school, right? Like the uniforms, the drip, like. Yeah. I mean, they're good at football too, but like the drip is tough. Like Oregon drip there's different levels to drip in college, and so like, what was kind of I mean, 'cause it's not like Oregon, like, it's not like you didn't have any other good offers. I mean, dude, you had big time offers that you would have had any experience as you are at Oregon there too. But like, what was the standout part of Oregon?
I think just to see like what they were building there. Yeah. But there was a ton of like reasons why I picked Oregon. One is, like you said, growing up, watching Mariota and all those guys.
Absolutely.
We were big Oregon fans. But growing up, that was my dream school. But there was a lot of reasons, like travel for my parents. I didn't want them to, like Auburn. No shade to Auburn, but Auburn, you would have to fly into Atlanta, drive 3 hours. The hotels were hard, like not next to the stadium, but like stuff like that. Just travel for my family. But the main reason is just Coach Lanning.
Yeah, Coach Lanning seems like a dog,
dude. I'm telling you, like, just being around him, last year and even this year is bro, he's a great coach. Yeah. But he also does a really good job of just separating football from like life. But I would just say the coaching staff, but also just seeing, what Oregon could be in these next couple of years. That was like a big standout for me.
Absolutely. And I think, platform wise, you can do a lot of cool things.
No, like, for sure.
I mean, at Oregon, obviously you have, just the Nike U, right? Like, there's so many cool opportunities for you to grow and learn in Oregon and stuff. But so when you committed to Oregon, did you
Yeah.
kind of feel like a relief almost that you're like okay, like because I've heard that from a lot of kids. Like, I mean, for me, my recruiting process was a little different. Like, I kind of knew where I wanted to go,
Yeah.
and like it was like the right fit. It worked out
Yeah.
for basketball. But like when you committed, where you're just like, okay, now I can just like not take a break, but like
Yeah.
you're like, okay, now like that on to my next decision.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would put recruiting like this for me. It was a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Blessing because it's everything I've asked God for,
Right.
and it was right in front of me. Curse because I think it takes a lot of time away from your family.
Yes.
And
And from football,
No,
like-
and from football. I mean, from just being a kid. I mean,
Yeah, going on visits, talking to coaches all the
yeah.
time. Like,
So like I moved out the house last year. I was 17 years old, living by myself. Like it was a quick wake up, but that's another thing. Like I would say it was a curse, but it was easier just because I had my family with me, basically almost every week. But
yeah,
no, it was a big relief for me, especially going from like my junior year to senior year. I mean, there was times where me and my parents would leave Thursday night, 5-hour flights like Miami, come back late Sunday night. I would have to wake up, go to school. My parents would have to wake up and go to work that same week, go to another visit.
Yeah.
So I was just relieved because also just like telling all the other coaches like I'm not. That's probably one of the hardest parts.
that's the hardest part.
No, yeah, especially when you build all these relationships, then you basically like cut them down.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And I think too, like when you're kind of going through that, right? Like you're going through that process of like, hey, like there's no bad blood. Like,
No, yeah.
I mean, and sometimes there are. There sometimes is
Yeah.
bad blood, and you're like, bro, I'm not going here because of X, Y, Z.
No,
But
yeah.
sometimes it's like, hey, like this is just a better fit, you
No,
know?
yeah, for sure.
And I think Coach Lanning, I mean, he's done an unbelievable job at building. Nothing's better. Like I love his like talk when he's like talking about Colorado. When he's like, we
Yeah.
play like they're playing for clicks,
Clicks.
and I'm just like, dude,
No,
like
yeah.
that's like he's so animated,
No,
but
yeah.
like. But you can tell like it's so real though.
No, yeah.
Like he's not trying to knock on anybody. Like he's just being like, dude, let's pump our guys
No,
up.
yeah.
What kind of like, what is that like being in a locker room with a dude like that?
It's like truly a blessing. I mean, being in the locker room, but like I said earlier, like he does a good job of separating football from like personal life, which we have these things called get reels every Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
We all meet in like small groups, the whole team. Then we come together as the whole team. But we meet in like groups of like 15. But we just like get real. That's what we talk about everything but football.
That's
that
so
day,
cool.
which is a cool experience because going to all these other colleges, no one did that.
Yeah.
And I think for Lanning, obviously football is the main reason why we're there. But I think he does a real good job just letting us know like if our mental's not right, then whatever we do on the field won't matter.
Yeah.
It's just really cool just to see where he's come from. He's come from nothing, and most of us that play for Oregon come from nothing.
Right.
But just going into a game knowing like head man is like
Head man's with you.
Yeah, head man is with you is it gives
different.
you a lot of confidence and it truly is different.
No, it's so cool. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how have you feel like, I mean, like when you're at Oregon, like is it, I mean, that's a beautiful stadium, beautiful venue, like the crowd's electric,
Yeah.
right? Like I remember BYU playing at Oregon and it was like watching that game, I was like, bro, this is wild. Just the atmosphere.
crazy.
Is it like, what's that like running onto that field, bro?
It's like surreal. Like to be honest, I can't explain to you. Like I'm a pretty emotional guy.
Yeah.
So spring game, my freshman year, we had like 53,000 people there for the spring game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's
I was
a lot of
running.
people.
No, it's for a spring game.
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot of people.
No, yeah. So for that, like it's truly crazy. I mean, for Ohio State, dude, I promise you, like every time I stepped on the field, shaking.
Yeah.
Like it was actually.
I mean, you
crazy.
played some big. Y'all have played.
No, yeah.
I mean, y'all played some big.
Yeah.
What's like the loudest place you've like been at?
Like ever.
Yeah.
For recruiting, I want to say Tennessee.
Okay.
Probably. But after Oregon, Autzen is. Bro, I'm telling you, we have. So Tennessee, I think, has 101,000
Yeah.
they hold, but Autzen has, I want to say 60,000. But the way it's built, like they
It's
built
just
it
down
yeah,
on
it
top
goes
of you.
down. Yeah, but Autzen's really loud. Tennessee was loud, but we didn't really play in like loud stadiums. I mean, when you get used to Autzen,
Yeah,
nothing
nothing's
compares.
loud.
No,
Yeah, nothing's loud. You're like, okay, I'm just at church
Yeah.
right now. This is easy.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was-
we at church right now. It's cool. This isn't even loud.
No, yeah.
So I mean, so you mentioned kind of your faith, like you have, belief in God. How do you
Yeah.
kind of manage that with playing football at a high level? And obviously, it's hard to balance everything in life in general. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how do you balance that?
Just knowing that everything I do have now is all from Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
So I'm a recent convert. I converted before the season.
Oh, cool.
So I joined the church in August. So right before season, during fall camp. But
So you like joined out there.
yeah, I joined out there.
So yeah, like missionaries teaching you out there or what? That's fire.
No, so one of my best friends, he actually, this is low-key one of my signs that took before I committed. But I remember before I committed, I was praying to God, asking for signs. There was a lot of stuff, like I was seeing a ton of Oregon license places in Utah. But
Yeah.
Also, one of my best friends, he had his mission call. He graduated early too, but it was to Eugene, Oregon.
No way.
Yeah. So he was the one that was teaching me.
That's so fire.
He's the one that baptized me.
No way,
yeah.
bro.
So
That's so cool. So went from he was high school guy at Oregon?
Yeah, no. So he played with me at Pink Outlaw.
Okay.
Lama, his name is.
Okay, so
played at
he
Sky Ridge.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's fire.
No, yeah.
So goes on his mission to Oregon
Yeah.
while you're out there,
Yeah.
baptizes you.
Oh yeah, it was a crazy experience.
Because I was gonna say, like, bro, like, I mean, this might be a hot take, so we don't have to answer the question.
Yeah.
But like BYU, when BYU played Oregon,
Yeah.
and they were yelling, F the Mormons.
Yeah.
Like what? I mean, because obviously you remember now, but like, is that like? I mean, obviously fans are gonna be fans,
No, fans
and
will
like,
be fans. Yeah.
but like, is it kind of like, bro, like that? That's me too. Like I'm a member too. Like,
So I think that happened like 20.
yeah, it happened a while ago.
It happened a while ago, but I wasn't really a member. But like obviously going back to it, like it's kind of like, come on now, like
Yeah.
But like fans, like you said, fans gonna be fans. But the way like being six out of like one of six members on my team, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to sacrifice a lot, like going out to party.
Yeah.
That's not like my way, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Obviously, when I think back to that, it's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, I think, like, to me, it's like, no matter what religion, and
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
even saying it like as a BYU guy by
Yeah.
any means. It's just like, bro, if someone did that to any person or people, I just think it's like, dude, cheer for your team,
No, yeah.
say you suck and stuff, like do your talk. Like, trust me, I'm a big shit talker. Like, I like that stuff, but like,
Yeah.
when you like attack somebody's like religion or
Yeah.
beliefs, it's a little different. But I just was curious, like, how that mindset. I mean, because you're like, obviously you weren't in the game and hearing it, but it's like, bro, like, I'm a member of that
yeah,
too,
I
and you're
remember
telling
that,
me that, like, what the heck, like, because I saw a thing. It was like a big recruit that was at Oregon that game, and he was
ended up
LDS,
leaving.
and then he left.
Yeah, he
and I was like,
left early,
I
yeah.
was like, that's crazy, bro. And they're
No,
probably
yeah.
like, oh man, but so obviously, Oregon has had a rich history of just a lot of things in
Yeah.
football. Kind of what has been your off-season goals? What's kind of been your work mindset this off-season?
So it's actually crazy. I'm actually coming off a ACL tear.
Right, because I was gonna say you got hurt.
I got hurt. So I was doing really good last year. I was playing offense, mostly special teams, but by week I ended up tearing my ACL, which was a complete game changer for me. Never got injured in my life.
Yeah.
So that was my very first major injury. But for this off season, I was just focused on like getting back,
Getting right.
But also just the coaches. I have a ton of meetings with the coaches, and they really do want me to step up this year. Me, Kenyon, Sadiq.
Okay.
He's really good. Jamari Johnson.
Yeah.
He came from Louisville. But we have a ton of good tight ends.
Tight ends in Oregon have been
No, yeah.
very good, and
Yeah.
I mean, so sad what happened to Spencer Webb.
No, yeah,
like,
for sure.
But I mean, he was, bro. His aura was like
No,
he
yeah.
had aura before aura was cool, bro. Like honestly, like I actually liked Oregon because of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I mean, not, like obviously Marcus
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all the stuff and all the drip, but like I remember watching him play. Like it was like when they were in the Pac-12, and I was like, bro, I don't know who this dude is, but he's tough.
Yeah.
Like he is so tough.
Even like last year, so I was playing behind Terrence Ferguson.
Yep.
And Patrick Herbert, but even them, like Terrence got drafted, I want to say second round this year. But just even being behind them, it's crazy, to
Crazy.
play with them 1 year, but then they're getting drafted another.
Yeah,
It's
you're seeing them in your locker
Yeah.
locker room last year,
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, bro, you just got drafted.
No, yeah. So it was cool experience for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously you've been around football, your brother and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
what is kind of advice do you get from him, and kind of what does he talk?
Yeah.
Do you guys like talk about that stuff at all, or
Yeah.
staying on the course, or?
Yeah. So like he always, like you said, just stay the course.
I mean, I didn't even read your shirt. We did talk about his shirt, but I just said it naturally,
No,
and now
yeah,
I'm like, hey, shout out the merch.
No, shout out the merch. Shout out
Yeah,
the
we're
merch.
gonna get the merch, right?
No, yeah, for sure. But my brother, his whole thing is just like stay the course, not to be like cringe or nothing, but
Yeah.
my brother went through a ton of stuff at BYU with like 3 labrum tears.
Yeah.
But he originally came in, like I said, he originally came in as a defensive end.
Yeah.
First year after his redshirt year, they switched him to O-line. Which was a pretty, like, he wasn't too happy about
Right,
it.
100%.
No, yeah, but he ended up starting O-lineman his redshirt freshman year.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the main thing he told me is just stay the course, but also just be yourself. Like, I'm not your typical tight end.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, confidence-wise, it does hurt a little bit that, I can't physically block, better than others, but he's always told me, like, just be yourself, There's a reason, Oregon brought you to Oregon, They see something in you, but
they wanted you to be you.
Yeah, But especially for my injury, it was pretty hard for me. I want to say the first 3 months, I was going through it.
Mental, bro. That stuff is such a mental game, bro. Like,
bro, it was hard.
Hard, bro.
No, it's tough. I mean, going from even just my freshman year in general.
Yeah.
Going from Mr. Superstar.
Yeah, you're the guy.
No,
you're the
guy
man. You walking around
to
like
a team full of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like earning my spot, moving from 5th string to 4th string, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think having someone in my corner who's been through all of that, helped me a ton.
No, absolutely, bro. And I think, like, dude, the mental side of injuries, I don't think people give credit to. Like, so I tore my Achilles as a washed hooper. Yeah. Like, I tore it like a couple years ago, 3 years. I can't remember. It all blends in now. But I wasn't even like at my peak of heat, like competition or anything.
Yeah.
But dude, it like took a mental toll. Like, I was
hard.
like, I don't even care if I hoop anymore. And everyone around me was like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're good? Like, because it mentally just messes with you, because that's, so much of your identity is that. And then kind of you take that.
And you have to try to find another, like, identity,
bro.
so to speak. But
I think it's cool, though, because, like, it also, like you hear it and it's super cliche, but it's like a minor setback, major comeback.
No,
but it's so interesting because, like, I think, like, when you're injured and you go through life, things like that, I think you see it so much different, right? Like, you see stuff on the sideline way different now than when you're not playing, because you can't physically get out there. So you're like, bro, like, I need to be doing X, Y, Z. Where as a player, you're kind of like, well, I did enough, but I don't need to do it. But now you're like, oh, that makes more sense.
And it simply just makes you more grateful for the things you have.
So much more grateful.
Another cliche quote is, you don't realize what you have until you lose it.
Yes, bro.
And like me, I went through that. There were some days where our practices at Oregon are tough.
Yeah.
And there were some days, obviously, as athletes, we're going to have our days, where you say, oh, I don't want to practice.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a long practice. But for me, like now, me just stepping on the field, that's all I need now.
Yeah, you're just like, I just want to be on the field.
I just want to be on the field, and that's what I'm not saying I'm grateful to tear my ACL. I would never say that, but I'm just happy I got to go through it because I was never alone. Like, and plus, like, for me, going back to my religion is I truly just trust God's plan, and I know, like, this is part of my story, and I know that everything that does happen happens for a reason.
Absolutely, bro.
And I'm just happy to be able to go through that, because I do feel like I'm mentally stronger, and physically also, like, I feel like I needed it too,
kind of get physically. That. Yeah, get the. I mean, and that's the thing I think people misunderstand about college sports is, like, you'll hear it all the time. You're like, bro, this dude is a 4-star, 5-star. He don't even play. I'm like, bro, the level jump is crazy. Bro, like, and there's levels to it. Like, even from high school, like, if you're a top level high school kid and you go to college, even the generational talents, it's different. Like, you're going against grown men, like, especially. Like at BYU, like, you're going against 24-year-olds, bro. Like, like, they're off missions. They're like, 7 years deep or whatever. And so, but even then, like, you got guys like Ferguson that's like, dude, like, it's just different. There is, and not that you're less than, it's just like, bro, you get there and it's like, wow, like, okay, like, I got to work again. Like, I gotta really, because now instead of just the local kids and it's the top kids there and
everyone from all walks
now it's
of life.
the best kids of their schools.
No, yeah.
So, and now with a portal, it's even crazier.
No, yeah. Which was It was wild for me going in my first year. I graduated early, January.
Okay.
I moved in for winter ball, but my very first spring ball, I was 220 pounds. We have a guy named Jordan Birch,
Yeah.
300, all muscle. Like had
Just
to
the
go
action figure.
had to go against him every day, and it took a toll on my body. But
Absolutely.
no, I mean, like you said, the jump from high school to college is insane.
Wild.
Especially like for football, where you're hitting like every day. I mean,
Yes.
you're going against literally NFL prospects, and like everybody has the same goal, is to eat. Like
Yes.
everybody. So I mean, everybody takes serious, especially going into like a place like Oregon. I mean, 4 stars, 5 stars,
Right.
from everywhere.
From
Like,
everywhere.
You have kids that are 260 running. I mean, Kenyon Sadiq,
Yeah.
tight end. He's 260 running 22.3 miles per hour. Like you
Wild.
don't see that. You don't see that in high school. You don't
No.
see that little league offense.
And if you do see it in high school, you
no, yeah,
are
you're going to
yeah,
a place like
yeah.
Oregon or somewhere. But
it's
crazy.
there's levels, dude, and
Uh-huh.
it's just like, I mean, luckily for you, man, like you've been able to not only just be there, and I
Yeah.
think there's a difference.
Mhm.
There's a difference of being in these schools and like
Yeah.
just being there and be like, oh wow, I go to Oregon,
Mhm.
and but like hearing you talk, like you can tell that you're like seeing it and like
Yeah.
applying it,
No,
right?
yeah, uh-huh.
But I mean, so obviously a quarterback as well. You guys have had a great history of quarterbacks
Oh, yeah,
there.
for sure.
What was that like? With Gabriel, like, I mean, how did he operate? How is the dynamic of the team?
It's crazy. I mean, just with even Dante Moore this year, it's crazy because those guys, they can't even walk around Eugene without getting stopped.
Oh, bro,
But,
I
like,
bet it's
to
crazy.
me, they're regular people. Like,
Yeah, you're like,
you know,
that's my teammate, bro.
No,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I see Dylan every day, but last year Dylan was probably one of the best football players but also a better person.
Really?
So when we first all moved in, the early transfer portal class
Yeah.
and my class, when we all got in January, we had a get together at Coach Lanning's house, and he was there. First time ever meeting him. Came up to me, he was like, "You're Roger, right?" I was like, "Yeah." Then he was like, "Yeah, I watched your film. Like, I love the way you play." You know,
That's so cool.
Yeah, like this
And
is
he doesn't
Dylan
need
Gabriel.
to. Yeah, he doesn't need to do that.
He doesn't need to do that. Like, he's what, 5th year Heisman run. Like, he didn't need to do that. But the fact that he even seen my film,
Yeah.
told me a lot about him. But I mean, you ask anybody from last year's team, Dylan was probably like the best person you've ever been around. Like, never ever walked by you without saying hi.
So
on
cool.
the field, like if you were to drop a ball, he was the first one to come and pick you up. Like, Dylan was. I mean, but then you also look at it as the public view. He was a Heisman running quarterback.
Right.
But then for him to be able to like kind of come down to our level was a true blessing.
I mean, it's so cool too. I think it sets the tone of like culture, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Like, because then, like, as new guys come in,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, bro, I feel like I got to do it now too.
yeah.
Like, and it bleeds. Like that stuff
Yeah.
bleeds in and deeper and stuff. And so, obviously, you guys always reload and you
Yeah.
guys have good dudes.
Yeah.
What's kind of the message at training right now, lifting and stuff? What's kind of been the
Yeah.
subject? Is it kind of, hey, let's go make the playoffs.
Yeah,
Let's go
yeah.
win a natty. Like,
So
what's
for-
kind of been the drive?
Yeah, for us, it's Coach Lanning never talks about the end goal. His saying is focus on the process, not the results.
I love
and
it.
even from last year, we didn't focus on like obviously we want to win the natty. That's our whole goal. But
Right.
now we're not even focused on the natty. I mean, we're not even focused on the first game yet. You know, we're living day by day. But
Yeah,
I think
stacking days.
no, yeah. For us, is literally we're just trying to find our identity as a team. Right now, we lost a ton of guys due to the draft and stuff like that, but we brought in a ton of guys.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, the new class, transfer portal. But right now, we're just trying to find our identity. Who we are as a team. Who our leaders are.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's our main focus is trying to find who we are this year.
Which is so cool, bro. And I mean, obviously, Oregon is just such a unique place for so many different
No, yeah,
reasons.
for
Like
sure.
just, the dynamic. But when you're there and you're working, like, how, do you feel like, like, what's like kind of your motivation every day that you're like, all right, bro, like I gotta, like I'm here and like, how do you stay confident of like, I gotta be me still? You know what I mean? Like obviously you gotta do your team
No, yeah.
goals
Uh-huh.
and you gotta do the team stuff,
Yeah.
but it's like, how do you like coming off an injury, staying like that? Like,
Yeah.
hey, bro, like I gotta rock.
It's hard to balance because we all have individual goals.
Yeah.
And you try not to let your individual goals outshine like the team goal.
Yeah.
But like you said, like everybody wants to get theirs. And I think for me, I really believe in like team success comes individual success.
Absolutely.
Which, we were ranked number 2 last year, and
Yeah.
all of our guys who entered the draft like either got drafted or got signed.
Right.
Which another thing is I just try not to force it. Like I try not to force anything.
Yeah.
Like I just let things like
Let it come.
Yeah, let them come. Like my play's gonna come. My time's gonna come, and I strictly believe that. Like, so like I think for me it's mainly just trusting the process.
Yeah.
Because when I have tried to force everything, that's when everything went wrong.
That's when things go bad. Yes.
That's when things go haywire. But
yes.
No, yeah.
So when you're at Oregon, bro, like obviously the portal's,
Yeah.
elite and the
Yeah.
portal's very real. And
Uh-huh.
like, do you like talk to some of your boys and you're like, yo, bro, like we should team up like at this level? Or are you kind of now at the point of like, hey, like I'm doing my thing, they're doing their thing,
Yeah.
Like, do people like do like guys like because do guys like some of the NFL guys like some of my buddies are like, yeah, bro, like I'm like, yo, I want to play with you. Let's play. Like, let's team up.
Kind of, not really. But also from like the people I have played with in high school and stuff. It's kind of like we don't really have enough time.
Yeah.
To like really talk about stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
you're like when you meet up, it's
no,
like
yeah.
it's catch up. Nah.
No, it's catch up. It's not really like. But I mean, obviously, there's conversation like, dude, what if we do join again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not really. Like we don't really talk like
Yeah, like-
let's join each other. But most of us are happy where we are, which is another blessing like for us. To
Right.
Be, but
So especially now, bro, like with the portal, like I mean, it's crazy because like now it's kind of I feel like every year's free agency year.
yeah, it's
Like
it's
every
getting
year's
crazy.
every year's wild west, and it just
Yeah.
gets crazier with
No,
rev
yeah.
share and everything
Uh-huh.
else. Like it's just like
No.
bro, like there's dudes that are like I read a report about the NBA last like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and it was like the how many participants were in the NBA draft
Yeah.
compared to like 2 years ago
Mhm.
is like by like less than 200 because
That's
guys are
wild.
just staying in college
Yeah,
because they're
yeah,
like,
uh-huh.
bro, I'm gonna
Stack the
I'm
money
gonna
in
go
there.
get a bag. Like, why would I go to hope it works out in the
No,
NBA?
yeah.
Especially the NBA. The NBA is a lot not harder than
Mhm.
NFL, but I mean, dude, you only got 5 guys on the court
Yeah.
compared to 11
And 15
plus
on the whole
and the
roster.
15
Yeah.
roster compared to
100 and
100 and something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it's a little different, bro. But
Yeah.
have you always been just like a football guy, or have you kind of been other sports, or
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, like I tried other sports. I wasn't that.
were you a
good.
hooper at all, or no?
I was kind of a hooper, but I was a Dennis Rodman.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
used
enforcer.
all 5 fouls at the end of the game.
Yeah, enforcer. I love it.
Rebounds. No, yeah, but
Set hard screens.
no, yeah, but I played a lot of basketball my freshman, sophomore year. I played like one game my junior year. Then once I started getting offers, I just
Yeah, you're like, all right, bro, I'm
yeah,
chilling.
I'm done.
Yeah. Well, bro, like, okay, a couple questions before we wrap up, but
Yeah.
So, what would you say, like, what advice would you give to young kids that are kind of maybe not seeing the recruiting process go as they hope for or
Yeah.
think? Because I think the world we live in, bro, there's a lot of pressure
Yeah.
to be great, and there's a instant gratification world we live
Yeah.
in where it's like, if it's not D1, it sucks,
Yeah.
or my dad thinks I need to be here, or whatever it might be. But like, what advice would you give to dudes that it might not be going their way,
Yeah.
but they really want it to go their
Yeah,
way?
yeah,
Like,
uh-huh.
what advice would you give to them?
I would just say, sounds really cliche, but just work while no one's working. But also just trust the process. Like,
Yes.
that's truly what I did. I literally just trust the process. And who knows? Like you said, some people think, oh, D3 football, like that's terrible. No, like you get another opportunity to have a chance
Right.
at playing D1. You know what I mean? But I would just say trust the process, and everything you want is on the other side of hard. Like, you know,
Yes.
like I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, 100%
no,
does.
yeah, for me, like everything didn't come easy. Like everything was hard, you know.
Right.
But I would say simply just trust the process. But also, if you're religious or not, like for me, I literally just trusted God.
Yeah.
And going back to the story, you know, it's crazy to see how fast He worked in that time when I needed Him the most.
Yeah.
But I would just say trust God and trust the process.
No, absolutely. And I think, what you said about, anything that's worth something is hard.
No, it's
You know what I mean? Like,
No,
dude,
yeah.
nothing I've done that's easy is like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, there's some, like, kickbacks that you get, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
that was a nice tender mercy. That was a little easier. But, like the things that you look back on and you're like, wow, like,
Yeah.
I did that. Like, I got it, right? Like, even, like, for me, like, I look back on my connections and networking and stuff, like, bro, like, I didn't have like, and I'm not going to say like it's all me. Like, dude, God's put me in a lot of cool
No, yeah,
places,
for
and He's
sure,
put me
for
in
sure.
contact with a lot of cool people.
Mhm.
But like, bro, like I didn't have these instant communication, networking setup. Like, it wasn't like my dad was in the NBA and I knew all these people.
Yeah,
Like, bro,
you have to
like
work
I
for
just
it.
had to
No, yeah.
create genuine
No, yeah.
relationships and
Uh-huh.
connect to people, and like, hey, if we vibe, we vibe,
Yeah.
and and stuff like that. And so I think for me, like what you said hit really hard because it's like, bro, when things are hard, like that's where I feel like you can get the most out of it. Whether
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
whether it's a success or not, it's a
Yeah.
success because you did it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
I mean, bro, like some people would be like, oh, he went to Oregon and he got hurt, like like that failed.
No,
Dude,
yeah.
that far from.
No, yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
that actually is literally even harder to go and do
Yeah.
that, stay locked in, come back and try to get healthy,
No, yeah.
and then still go up every day and
Yeah.
show up.
Which, like, for me, everything, like, if something's easy, I try to make it harder.
Yes.
Because, like you said, like, when you're in the middle of everything, like, I feel like when it is hard, that's when you should think, like, oh, I'm getting some out of it.
100%.
Even if you fail,
Yes.
like, I feel like you're learning. You're
Learning,
still
bro.
taking something out of it. Which, like I said, is when something's easy, I have to kind of, like, stop myself and, like, oh, it's too good to be true.
Yes. Yes.
No, yeah, for sure.
And bro, that's how I kind of look at it. Like, so I always remember there was this dude. I served my mission in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
And this dude comes up to me. He's so funny, bro. Like, I'll always remember. Like, I mean, I talk about this story all the time. So this guy comes up to me, and in Houston, it's like one of the diverse cities in the world, right? Like, I mean, dude,
sure.
like I would hop on a bus and I'd meet people from
Everywhere.
everywhere, bro. So this dude comes up to me and goes, "Yo, like, what color are you?" I'm like, "Okay, like, why do we got to go this route? You know, like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "What's your color?" And I said, "Well, like, I'm white."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, like, are you red or are you green?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this is a trick question. Like, I don't know. Like, what matters, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well," he said, "let me teach you something." And I was like, "Okay." And I remember he stopped and he said, "You need to always stay green." And I was like, "Well, what's wrong with red?" And he goes, "When you're red, you stop progression, and that's when they pick you as a fruit or whatever, tomato,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like they pick you when you're fully red because you're
Yeah.
ready to be eaten."
Uh-huh.
He's like, "But when you're green, you're still growing and you're still developing." He
yep.
goes, "Stay green, bro."
Yeah.
And I was like, that was the most interesting conversation I had on a Tuesday on my mission.
Most
but,
random.
But it hit different because I was like, yeah, like bro, like life's a lifelong curriculum.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're never. Like you're like when you stop learning and you stop trying to progress, like that's
Yeah.
when you should be scared,
Uh-huh.
or that's when you should be nervous because you're like, okay, I got to find something to learn more, right?
Yeah.
Or I got to do more. And so, how do you? So, kind of going into the next question, how do you like kind of manage that? But also, like, how do you feel like connections have helped you,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you like, create connections and networking, not just for clout, right? Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like, yo, Roger's a big time recruiter, let's
Yeah.
have him on the podcast. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, like, hey, like, let's do something that's positive for both of us. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
uh-huh.
it can't be just a selfish one way
No.
thing. But it's like, how do you feel like connections have helped you get to where you're at, or how do you feel like you're using connections or creating them?
I would just say, like, I was blessed and fortunate to have everything at my feet. Like,
Yeah.
But also, I've learned real quick, like, your network is your net worth.
Yes, bro.
Like, which is a big thing. Like even reaching out to you, like, or when you reach out to me, like, I wanted to text back because
Yes.
I was like, dude, what if like this could build connections, and obviously whoever sees this, also, you know what I mean, helps
Absolutely.
both of us.
Oh, 100%, bro.
But I would just say that's the biggest thing I've learned was just network is your net worth. And I mean, Oregon does a real good job with connecting you with stuff with life after football. I mean, I want to say 2 weeks ago we had a whole day, 7 a.m. from like 6 p.m. where a ton of alumni came in from all like different jobs. Like
So cool.
real estate was there. I mean, so the securities were there, like police was there,
Yeah.
anything you could think
Like
of.
anything.
Anything.
So cool.
No, yeah. So that's another good thing what Lanning does is he knows. We all know, like, half of the team, most of the team is not going to NFL.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so he tries to set us up for life. So we're not just here for football. We're here to, grow as men, grow as parents, grow as everything. But I would say that, like, everything was at my feet. Oregon, Nike. I mean,
Yeah.
Nike, I think, is one of the best network you can.
I mean, big time network, bro.
I mean,
That's
they have a thing where we have first dibs of interviews out of everybody in the world, the
So
football
cool.
team. Right after we're done, we can work at the Nike headquarters
So
in
cool.
Portland, which is like another thing is at my feet. Like,
Yeah.
so I can't really complain.
yeah, like I mean, and what's cool about it is, bro, like like those are like things that have led you to Oregon. You know what I mean? Like some people were like, oh, like why'd you go to Oregon? You know, because I remember like hearing about, you know, when you were getting recruited, everyone's like, oh, bro, we gotta like everyone like he needs to go to BYU or he needs to go to, you know, and it's like sometimes like as fans, you know, it's hard to like see different guys go to different schools or whatever it might be, but it's like, man, what they can do with their life is so cool. You know, like the platform that you're on is so cool because, dude, that's going to change not only your life, your family, like your future family's life, you know, because of choices that you were willing to make. And that's hard, bro, to graduate from at 17, graduate early, go to college and be like, okay, like I got to go figure out how to be an organ dude. But I know what I am and I know how I can operate, but like, like it's levels to this. And so I think it's so cool that what you've done with all your experiences, bro, it just speaks volumes of kind of who you are and how you were obviously brought up, bro. It's it's really cool to see what you're doing, man. And so I guess like the last question that I'll ask, you know, for everyone is, you know, what's kind of been the best thing that you like, I feel like up to this point, like what has kind of been like the kind of one lesson that you kind of reflect back on the most, like that you're like, okay, like I got to take this with me to continue to succeed?
Probably just no, not probably, for sure. I think the biggest thing for me is remembering where I came from. Like I truly, like me and my family truly come from nothing. Like my grandparents were the first in America. Originally, my grandparents were from American Samoa.
Okay.
Then obviously my parents were the first generation to be born in America. But my whole life, like, you want to talk about struggle? Like, my whole life was struggle, like struggle after struggle, like, and just big shout out to my parents, like,
absolutely, bro.
Truly, like, shout out to my parents because seeing what they've been going through, but then still keep fighting and fighting, losing a house, keep fighting, losing a house, keep fighting. Then also trying to raise, my mom had my brother at 19, like, but like seeing them like being able to, you know, get raised by those strong parents, I mean, truly helped me. And they tell me every time, like, remember when you didn't have anything, like, what did that feel? That drove you, right? So now that you have a little bit of something, why stop now? You know what I mean? And
no, absolutely, bro.
I think from my main focus was literally just remembering where I came from, but also remembering who helped me. Like, truly, like I said, shout out to my parents. My whole goal, like, in life is to make them proud, but also just to break the pattern of, like, my family of not really, like, having much. I remember there was days, so I grew up in California, but we lived in this den where it was just one room, like the size of this room. And it was, I want to say, 7 of us plus a dog. Like, some days we didn't have hot water, like, but this is all I knew, like, you know. But like I said, shout out to my parents because they made it work, you know. And that's what I try to do is, that's why I don't really complain, because, you know, where I came from was humble beginnings. But,
absolutely, bro.
But just to see my parents make it work for me and my 4 other siblings, like, that's truly what drives me. So,
bro,
every time I go through something like this, I just remember where I came from. Like, you know, nothing was easy. You know, like I said, going back to everything being hard, like, that's what, you know, made me into the person I am. So
bro, and that's so big time, man. And like, honestly, like, easy to root for that, you know what I mean? Like, and I think, you know, everyone, like, obviously I want everyone to follow Roger on Instagram, follow his journey, follow his merch that's going to drop. But like, bro, like, I think, like, for me, like, obviously I thought you were a cool dude, we connected, but like, just hearing how you talk, bro, like, you can just, the authenticness of it is just so real and so pure. And bro, I just appreciate you hopping on, taking your time. You know, you're a busy dude, and willing to hop on the pod with me is big time. And so I just, you know, continue to pray for blessings for you and success for you, man. And
likewise.
I appreciate you again hopping on. So make sure everyone taps into Roger on Instagram. We'll drop his link below. Tap in for him on an awesome season at Oregon. And what else he's going to do in life, man. He's going to do a lot more in life than, you know, the football field. So shout out him. And again, shout out everyone here that likes, follows, subscribes. Appreciate everyone. And we'll be back for round 2 soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Perfect.